Perhaps you can begin by telling our audience what cryptojacking is and walk us through your report with some of the highlights.
Happy to do that. So this data is collected in over 215 countries and territories around the world on 1.1 million sensors. So what cryptojacking is about is bad guys getting into your servers, your laptops, or any type processors that a firm or an individual has to take over that compute engine and traditionally run in background to do mining. Now, it's interesting because you have to look at the bad guys. I mean, cryptojacking is really a money crime, right? Because it's trying to mine the crypto to get the money out. So while cryptojacking worldwide was up 33%, as you pointed out, the financial institutions were up 269%, with retail being the second biggest with in the 60%. What's interesting about that, it looks like there's been a move worldwide. As everyone reads, ransomware is still alive, but when you look at the first half of this year, ransomware is down some 23% worldwide. And that's because of the geopolitical issues with Russia and Ukraine, but also because law enforcement and others have made that an area that they are targeting. Many people have read of the disruption of that supply chain, like in the Kernel Pipeline initiative, where they actually took down the website, took down the bad guys, and brought the Bitcoin back in the digital currency. So we see a major shift to cryptojacking as a means to an end in a financial model for the bad guys, be it in country states or organized teams or even individuals. I would suspect as you see kind of the second half play out forward looking, you'll still see cryptojacking rising because it tends to be very seasonal. High in the first part of the year, kind of low in the second and third quarter, and then back again. Very strong in Q4. I think as the economy gets a little bit shaky, you'll see this increase, and I bet you'll see ransomware come back as well. But I also think, because this group is very crypto savvy, you're going to see digital assets at play, much like point of sale and checking accounts and your bank accounts were. Now that people are having digital wallets and storing digital assets, as they get in, once they're in and can use your compute power, don't be fooled or comforted that that might happen. They might also go after your digital assets because that's available once you're in as well.
Also, just going over your report, you also mentioned that Ukraine is seeing an increase in malware volume. Can you perhaps explain to us what's going on in that regard?
Yeah. Clearly, the Russian-Ukrainian events of this year have affected and really reshaped the whole malware landscape. Many of the organized state-sponsored groups in Russia and Ukraine, you had Ukraine people, you had Russian people in those same groups. Well, guess what? That's now a civil war, literally, figuratively, and literally. So that has exposed a lot of the operations, put some of those people against each other. And so malware, for the first time in years, is up about 11% globally. As you peel that back, Europe is getting very targeted, both with ransomware, where even though we're up worldwide 23%, Europe is up, in the 30s and 40%. Malware in Ukraine and in continental Europe, predominantly Southern Europe and Germany, are also getting targeted by these groups.
All right. And I wonder, how do you know if you've been infiltrated? Are they targeting retail or institutions in particular? And is it mostly through phones, through laptops? And what can you do to stop it?
Yeah, I mean, it's really important to segment your networks. So if you're working at home, put your IoT devices on one part of your wireless network and your work pieces on your other. If you're a business, absolutely critical you do the same. You really need to use your second factor. A lot of these are running in background, so having a next generation AV capability to look at that. If you feel like your performance, really isolate that. And right now, it really is important if you're a business to segment those networks, look at encrypted threats. Encrypted threats, they're coming in through encrypted emails and phishing. That's up 132% worldwide. So really is important now, especially if you're a financial institution or a bank. I mean, they're up in every category. The good thing is they're probably the most prepared, but it is, the nature of that is shifting. If you look worldwide, malware's up 10%, and banks and financial institutions over 100%. If you look at IoT, same thing, up almost 5 times in IoT. So every one of those categories. Cryptojacking, as you said, almost 6 times the amount of retail, which is the next largest. But if you look worldwide, it's up almost 10x. So on every category for banks and financial institutions, they got to be careful. And now, as many of them are working remotely around the world, not just in the US or UK and other financial institutions, they really have to start to access the identities and the access into those networks and make sure that things that are happening in their home aren't getting siphoned off into their servers, their networks, and segmenting that.
Some great nuance behind the numbers, Bill. Just one more quick question before we wrap. What are they mining? Do you know which cryptocurrencies they're after, just out of curiosity?
Well, the big ones are the big ones. That's pretty much the same. It's a money crime, so they're going to go where the activity and money is, and the visibility is less. But it's across all of them because all of them have different encryption. So some of them are harder to break than others, as you well know, and your audience does. But they know where the money is. They're going to stay where they can get the money the quickest, the easiest.